Welcome to At the Kitchen Counter, where we serve up stories and insights from educators straight from my grandma's kitchen counter. I'm your host, Alyssa Fabian, also known as Farmer Fobs. This kitchen counter is not only the beholder of great conversations, but also a place where learning has taken place. My guest is my man Scott. Scott, most podcasts would introduce you and read your bio, but we're just here at the kitchen counter, or we're eating breakfast at ISTE, right? So just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, Scott Nunes here. I'm a former educator turned tech coach, helped build a virtual school during the pandemic, and fell in love with this one tool called Canva. And when a job opened up over there, I thought, you know what, here's my chance. I'm going to risk it all because YOLO, you only live once, right? And so laid it all on the line and haven't looked back. Love it, love it, love it. Supporting millions of educators here in North America. And can't wait to chat and
Man. Got that
keep the
dream
convo
job,
going.
don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I
And
really
I
do.
think that was really cool for us and how we connected. Like I said,
Mhm.
at breakfast with Canva as a Canva ambassador, and we were able to connect, and I think we could have talked for days.
Yes.
So I'm excited to have you on the podcast. We actually you were the first person that I even told that I had this idea of this podcast and what it was going to be called. And you were like, Alyssa, go for it. Like, I love it. And then you were like, hey, use this and do this. And I was like, this guy just that's my people right there. So a big kudos to you for
Thank you.
pushing me a little bit and getting started. So I love it. So I'm gonna dive into my first question.
Let's do it.
Can you share a moment or project where you saw technology significantly enhance student creativity or collaboration in the classroom? Not only when you were teaching and when you were a tech coach, but even now as being, as working with Canva.
Yeah, my answer here is a little dynamic. It's not just one tool or one piece. It's really blended learning. So building a foundation of blended learning based on Catlin Tucker's work, and then integrating it with things like Explore Like a Pirate. So kudos to Michael Matera. I
Yeah.
wove in some technology to keep track. And really what I did was I gamified my classroom.
Okay.
Game changer, because I got so much buy-in, and I got buy-in from the kiddos that were often ignored, that folks tend to give up on.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm perfect, by no means. No, no, not saying that. But this approach is near perfect because it really empowers you to do more. It puts students in the driver's seat, and you're differentiating the content and leveraging technology to free you up to invest more time in those kiddos, especially the kiddos that are often disenfranchised.
Yeah. For me, I think I've always kind of been that creative soul. But when I was a student, I often share the stories. Like when I was a student, it was multiple choice questions. It was,
Mhm.
you have to learn this way, and the only way that we are going to see that you learned something was to answer this, test, right? And I know for me, I struggled. But there was that one teacher that was all about, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of collaboration, and I shined. I think that was my moment that I saw wait, this is what creativity can do for me. And so then when I kind of got into teaching, I was like, that's the only way I want my classroom, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I have to put myself in those shoes. Are they learning with worksheet after worksheet after worksheet? Like you just said, you gamified it. And it's so, I think we get excited to go to work every single day because we've created these lessons and we see these kids' faces. And like you said, you're not perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
you're close to it, Scott. But,
Too kind.
but I think teachers are how do you guys do what you do? And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
it's because I always say, as my grandma says, you're seeing learning happen right in front of you. And that to me is always my why as to how I see technology just enhance that creativity, that collaboration. And now as a coach, and I know you could probably relate, I used to be in this classroom and that was it. That's all really who I affected. And now as a coach, I'm able to work with like K through 12 right now, right? And so I go in, and this is literally what they call me, K through 12, the Canva teacher, the Canva lady. And like, I mean, I was like, I'll take it, because at first, when I started at the school district, I was like, "Have you guys used Canva?" And they're like, "Wait, what's that?" And I was like, "I'm gonna run with this." And so I have, and so that's why the kids, "The Canva lady's coming today. The Canva lady's coming." And their eyes just are just like wide open. They're learning. You're seeing that creativity. But you know what? It's not always the time that I love seeing the kids. I think I sit back and I watch the teacher. Have you ever
Mm,
seen like a teacher that really hasn't like seen how these creative tools like really make a difference? Sometimes I just sit back and I watch the teacher's eyes and their expressions and their, like, even their feedback. They're just like, whoa, this is what it can do. Have you ever had kind of moments like that where it's not just the students, but like teachers too just have that like, wow, this is amazing what creativity and collaboration can do.
yeah, and it's the best. I affectionately refer to the struggling teachers, like struggling with tech
Yeah.
and a little tech adverse, as tech fragile, because you have to
Yeah.
approach them carefully, cautiously. You
Very.
don't want to break them and scare them off. They've had
Yeah.
lots of bad
They're like
things
an egg.
happen. Yeah, yeah. So you have to build them up. You have to, it's like the egg drop, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
you watch like Abbott Elementary at all, but the episode with the egg drop, you just can't drop it. There's some
No.
physics to it. There's
Yes.
some foundational work that goes into securing that journey for
Yeah.
these individuals. And so when you can model it and use the
Yes.
same practices we use with students, have scaffolds, use the SIOP method, like I do, we do, you do,
Yes.
integrating that. So, okay, I'm going to model this in your class. We're going to do it together. And then, okay, independent practice. There you go. I'm right here, or I'm an email
Yes.
away, or
Preach.
this or that.
Yeah.
And then they flourish and they come back to you like, oh, Scott, I'm not scared to use technology. I had
Yeah.
that with a super tech fragile person, and they were looking to leave the profession. They not only didn't leave, they signed up for another year, and
Nice.
they stuck with the virtual school, which was amazing. And they were going to continue to use technology, which I thought was phenomenal.
I love that, and that kinda, I know for me, I was in the classroom for 10 years, and I never wanted to be a coach. Like, if you woulda asked me, like, "Alyssa, do you wanna be a coach?" And I was like, "No," you know? But then when I moved from Texas to Ohio, I got this amazing opportunity to become a tech coach. My master's is in educational technology, but I still never wanted to be a coach. And so I will have to tell you, I love what I do every single day because of what you just said. We literally get to take teachers that are that tech fragile, that are that egg, right? And we get to hear the stories of, I love coming to work every day now. I want to continue teaching every day
Yes.
now because I am that coach where like I started like just like going door to door, like, can I work with you? Can I co-teach with you? Can I will hold your hand. Let's build something together. I will come in and model it. And then it's like, okay, now it's your turn, but I'm still here. And then I'm now starting like that year two of, they're like, hey, listen, I got this. I got this. Let's build something. But I'm feeling a lot more confident. Or like some teachers, I had a lady the other day, I never would have thought she would have used tech, but she came the other day and she stopped me in the hallway. She's like, Alyssa. Like, whoa, what's up? She goes, I used Snorkel today. And she was pumped. And I was like, that's my why. Because
Yeah.
we made that difference. And she was excited to go to work. She was excited to use tech. And I was like, hey, this is happening, right? So I think you're dead on, is like, as a coach, let's not forget that I do, we do, you do, right?
Mhm.
Because we do it with teacher or students so much. I think that's sometimes lost. And so I love that because I was like, that's me. Like, let's go, I do, now you do, like, or we do, it's like we are here to not, break that egg. We're here to really get you up and going and coaching, right? Just like a basketball coach, just like anything else. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. Now, me being a tech coach, I would love some advice from you because as much as I have those teachers that are like, hey, I'll try tech, I'll start to use it little by little by little. I have those other teachers. And so it kind of goes into that second question is, you know, those other people, right, that we have to persuade that we'll never give up on. How do we respond to those teachers? And that question is, how does incorporating these creativity tools or these tech tools make a positive impact on students' assessments and the state test? So many people are wrapped up into that state test. I have to teach to the test. I
Yes.
don't have time to throw in a tech tool or a creativity tool or for them to be creative and have that time. How do you answer that to all of our tech coaches out there? How do you answer the question that we get from that other side? And also how to just keep on going, keep on going. Don't let that one person go, it's not worth it. We got to teach to the test, but you and I know we see it, but how would you respond to that question?
Yeah, it's a big question.
It's
It's
a
a
big
tough
question.
question. You may have to reel me in because I get excited about
Yeah.
questions like these. And so I would challenge them. Like, hey, give me a challenge. What what can I do to convince you? And then just sit back and listen. And then if they
Yeah.
don't give you anything, just be like, hey, can I pop in sometime? Can you give me one of your old lessons? What's something you want to revamp? And then just revamp it for them, right? You
Yep.
don't have to spend a lot of time as a tech coach. You can just revamp it. And then even model it to your point.
Yep.
You could run it, show it to them, wow them. Like take a tired old PowerPoint, put it into something like Canva, just
Blow their
modernize
minds.
the heck out of it. Yeah, blow their mind. Like what? I
Yeah.
I can go from clip art to this, like mind blown. And you're like, yeah, and I'll show
Did
you
did
like
you just say clip
steps.
art?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I still see
It's
it.
like, hey, I haven't heard the word clip art since I've been, like, in elementary, middle school.
Yeah. Oh,
You
trust
mean we
me.
don't just go to Elements and get everything there? Man,
Yeah, there's some people still using Print Shop Pro.
that's
uh,
funny.
and then to that point, I don't have a ton of data on this,
Yeah.
um, but in using blended learning with a variety of approaches, so different frameworks, things like Edu protocols,
Yeah.
coupled with Ace the Question, Doug Lamov's work, things like that. Oh, Anita Archer, huge one, talking
Okay.
about focusing on literacy in every subject. It's cross
Yes.
curricular. So every day we read, we write, we speak. And now, because we're focused on the 4 C's, add in
Yes.
something like Canva. So I say every day we read, we write, we Canva because Canva encompasses
Ooh.
so much. Yeah, that's juicy right there. And with the scores, our ELA department in 2019 bumped those scores 34 points on the state exam. Now, because COVID happened, we couldn't see if that was replicable with
Yeah.
2020 results, unfortunately. And then I left the district before we did state testing. So I don't know where things went, and COVID just really messed things up.
Yeah.
But my gut tells me there's something there. And
Yeah.
if you're listeners or you have some data, I would love to hear it because I know this stuff works in my experience. There's experiential learning, experiential teaching.
We see it. We
Yeah, we
see it.
see it.
And I think that's what's hard is, I think in today's time, it's give me the data, give me the data, give me the data. And I always tell people I run from data, you know, but I mean, you're exactly right. It's like, we see it and to us, that's enough.
Yeah.
But then you have that other side, which I totally respect. They're like, I want to see that data. So I think that's that hard balance. But I love your approach of let's revamp something. And like you just said, start off small, start from going to,
Yeah.
the slides to the Canva, and spice it up. And that's not gonna lie, that's how I've gotten into some classrooms is, like let's say during a PD, my slide decks are pretty lit, right? Because I got the drum roll, I got my phone going off, and I'm switching the slides, and then there's animations and the graphics make people pay attention in my PDs. And then somebody, they go and go, I want mine to look like that. Let's do it. So it's like that little in.
Mhm.
And then I always go, okay, if that made you pay more attention and excited about learning about MIPD, could you imagine if students then created that? And so then that's
Right.
kind of how like I get in is like let's have the students make like an infographic in Canva. Let's have them start small, and then we kind of go broader from there, where that teacher can get more confident that student. But then I don't know, I think for me, I always say like, you know, my answer to this is, let's go ahead and create something. Just say like in Canva. Oftentimes we'll do well, I love to app smash. So let's say we do a little school AI, right? And they're learning about the Great Depression. And then they go in and they make an infographic about the Great Depression, about what they've learned. So then often I say, okay, shut your computers. Let's talk about it. What did you just learn? And I think that's when I'm able to be like, see, they learned. What they just did, they talked about it, they created, they were excited about learning and images and representing just differentiation. And then we go and talk about it. So I think that's often my answer. Um, but yeah, it's always to those like, oh, where's the data? So I know for me that's a tough question that we could go on and on and on about, but we see it, So I love that answer. So I'm just gonna be like, next time I get that question, well, Scott said, I'm just kidding. Oh, messing with you. Um, all right. So we've talked about, creativity in the classroom and using, creative tools. And I always said, I don't care what creative tools you're using, as long as you're using those tools. That kind of guides me into my next question is,
Mhm.
we often, a passion of probably both of ours is getting creativity tools like Canva in the classroom for students. But why? Why, people ask me like,
Mm.
why are you so passionate about getting creativity tools and allowing students to be creative in that K through 12? Um, and for me, because I see what the workplace is all about. I see
Yeah.
what's important in the workplace. So, my question is, how can we better, prepare these students for this shift of we're just seeing it so much more that they need to know about creativity, they need to know about technology, they need to know about AI. And so, you know, I guess my question is, how do we continue, or how does it play such a big, important role? And how do we get more teachers on board to get their students into these type of tools?
Great question. And I see it every day too from my side, right? I have a unique perspective now working for
Yeah.
Canva. I get to see what comes from those industry experts. So when the kiddos leave our class walls, right, whether they become entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
influencers, go off to study in the realm of academia,
Yeah.
they're using these tools and they're important, and we've gone beyond soft skills. We You hit the nail on the head. Creativity is
Yeah.
one of the top skills that all of these institutions are looking for. Even if you're a plumber, an HVAC
Yeah.
person, it's all about creativity to make you stand out. I'm going to
Yes.
plus one creativity with something that's very similar. They kind of dovetail, and that's storytelling. Outside of tech and like AI, those are the two top skills. If you're a good storyteller and creative, you are unstoppable. And those skills are not just innate. Sure, some of us maybe have more of a natural base to start off there, but it can be taught like anything. We just have
Yes.
to exercise our brains and teach those skills.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Is it? And I always say, no matter what job you have, I'm noticing how much creativity some of these, jobs are having to have because they have to market themselves. They, such as, videos. We all know how big marketing and social media commercials play a big role in business. Branding, right? How important is branding? You know? I
Huge.
mean, it's huge, whether it's the name, the colors, the graphics, right? I always remember, even just, like, little stuff like, I think it was Under Armour's story, how they had, like, different names and different brandings and different ways of, like, their logos and just how
Mhm.
important they had the same, product, but how important like branding and marketing played a role in their success. And you look at all the major companies of how much these great ideas, but they're almost nothing without this creativity side. And like you just said, that storytelling side. And so it doesn't matter, what field you're in, those kind of things matter. So I think, you know, I just love seeing kids be creative, and I love that you said that storytelling, because I think through that creativity on their graphics and on their presentations, they're telling a story.
Exactly. They go hand in
Yeah,
hand.
I love that. Yeah, that's and so you said creativity and storytelling are the top 2 skills.
Mhm.
Tell me more about that. Why?
Yeah.
Like, why?
So
Why story.
here's why tech is really leveling the playing field
Yeah,
right now. And so knowledge is always important, but knowledge on how to use tools is more important. So that's still a primary item. But then differentiation is
yeah,
the key right now. So the branding, the marketing, how to
yeah.
make yourself stand out when everybody's doing these things. Well,
So,
how is Scott different? How's Alyssa different? How's this student different? And I've seen it. So an influencer
I
like
like it.
Tyler Oliveira was not my student, but went to the high school I
Okay.
taught at. And he has millions of followers. Now, mind you, his content is a bit sophomoric for me. And he's exploring topics that are not popular with certain groups of folks. But when it comes to creativity, innovation, building a business, it's great. Another
Yeah.
one from my school, not my student again, but was there during my tenure. This Joseph Rep, he built Rep Digital in high school. This kid is a
Yeah.
stinking genius. Here's what he did.
That's cool.
He used ROP, so like the work experience program that we had in our district, rented a warehouse and ran his digital marketing business from there and got his friends to work there. So they got to hang out, be creative, and they're
Yeah.
designing things for like Kevin's Foods, which is a
That's sick.
natural kind of foods place
Yeah.
Stockton, California. Now they blew up. They're all over Costco's and
That's
things
cool.
like that. And then he sold, I believe he sold, have to fact check me on that, but his business was worth almost 2 million right around the time of the pandemic. So he's finishing
Ooh,
high school, entering college, and he has a near multi-million-dollar business. That's an extreme amount of success, more than
that's
I could
insane.
hope for most, right? That's just off the wall, and it's providing access and that opportunity to be
Yeah.
creative, right? Had he
The
not had that
opportunity,
opportunity,
you just nailed it. Every student should have the opportunity to be creative. And
mhm,
I think that's what boils my skin is that they're not. Every student should have the opportunity to be creative. And I think that's where like I continue to that's my passion is like every student should have that opportunity, and you nailed it. Look what it became because they had that opportunity. And, a kid does what they want with it, but
mhm.
not every kid has that opportunity, and with opportunities can just open so many doors. I love that.
Yes, so
Yeah,
much, and I reflect, I wish I had more opportunities
yeah,
growing up. I had some, and I'm sure I blew some that I didn't even realize I had.
yeah,
But had I had some different ones and had more, I think I
yep,
would have been able to fulfill more of my dreams earlier on in life. And
Yeah.
so that's why I give back in the way I do. I'm able to reach millions now through
Hmm.
educators and coaches like yourself and your
Yeah, man.
audience.
I love it. Well, that that leads right into my last question. You're like, I wish I had more opportunities when I was younger. I was all like, okay, so as you guys know, I'm the little farmer files. We gotta go a little bit on brand. Can you share a yeehaw moment that you've had? Whether it's when you were younger or it's now. I mean, for me, as we know, everybody wants to work at Canva, so you're just a living yeehaw moment, but would love to share that little personal yeehaw moment, that I'm waiting for.
Yeah, big old yeehaw, right? I'm working on it. How'd I
Hey,
do as a baby Texan?
I had the kick at breakfast, so I think you get the yeehaw down, and I get the kick down. Is a match made in
Okay.
heaven.
All right, there we go. Um, Really a yeehaw moment for me is kind of two things that connect. They're interconnected. So when I was about 11, 12, really had these big dreams of working for a startup. My dad would commute to the Bay Area, do construction on all these companies, come home, tell me stories like, Scott, this janitor that I saw when I was walking there, now this guy's like a multi-millionaire. He got stock in this company, and he's like, you should look into it, son. And so I taught myself how to code
That's
and
cool.
tried to pave my way. And I failed all along the way, or so I thought.
Yeah,
Really, I just had lots of opportunities for learnings, and I hit lots of walls, and I didn't have that growth mindset yet. I had a fixed mindset where when a wall came up, I thought, oh, I'm not supposed to cross this. And I got kind of boxed in and just went a different way rather than pushing through that wall or climbing over and just
yeah,
keeping on. And about that time, too, fast forward a couple of years, I was in my biology class working on a web page for my bio teacher, Mr. Calvin. We were talking about different clubs and tech, and I was really dreaming. And I was like, hey, with this web design stuff, I wish there was a tool where you could just place things on a web page and do that with different graphics where you didn't have to design everything by scratch. Fast forward like 20 years, and here
yeah.
comes this great tool called Canva. And now I'm working for them, right? I share
That,
that to
yeehaw.
yeah, yeehaw for sure. And I share it to illustrate 2
Yeah,
points. One, don't give up on your dreams.
yeah.
And then two, leverage those so-called failures as
Failures.
learning opportunities to get
Yes.
what you really want. It's that consistent endurance and like purposeful practice that will help you seize the day in the end, right? And now my
Yes.
goals have shifted under that lens of Canva. Like, okay, I got that. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to have the largest impact I can
Yep.
here in North America. I'm deeply passionate about education, deeply passionate about this tool.
Yeah.
How can I do that? And I'm figuring that out right now.
I think I got some chills when and I'm writing some of these quotes down because I just love it because it's like, I think every failure is an opportunity to learn. I think I often say I don't have any mistakes. I don't have, I can't look back and be like that was a mistake. I have to say, that was an opportunity to learn and grow. So I
Mhm.
love that, leverage failures as a learning opportunity. So I think I just have a ton of yeehaw moments from today. I think I always just love, chatting with you and getting to learn from you because, you were just like us, you were a teacher, you were a coach, and now you're able to impact so many more people. And I feel your passion when I was able to sit next to you at breakfast, like just that passion that you have is contagious. So keep being you, man. I love it. I just love talking to those people that have that passion of creativity because we could talk for days, and I think we just have to continue to say, every student deserves the opportunity to be creative, and we have that. We have that in our hand where we can start to give it to them just by us, learning these tools, knowing these tools, getting into the classroom. So love that. I mean, this was awesome. Thanks for jumping on. Everybody for listening in. Thanks for joining in at the kitchen counter. Stay tuned for more episodes, and remember that great conversations can start at the kitchen counter. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, y'all.